the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 266 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Thursday, February 16th, 2023. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. It is the spoiler-free Blue-Green Vacations, whatever the hell the name of the sponsor is, Duels episode of the podcast, because we are recording as the duels are occurring, and James has it on, and I am not watching it because I am going to watch it delayed. So James is not allowed to spoil anything for me as we record this.
Got ourselves a little Thursday thunder here, Eric.
Yeah, Thursday night
We don't
thunder.
record on Thursdays very often. Yeah.
No, I know.
So there you go. Yeah, I am watching these duels. I promise I won't spoil anything. But you know, if I make a gasp or an ooh or anything like that,
if you don't, you're fired. If you do, you're fired. That's it. That's all there is to it.
You've fired me before. I can handle it.
If you do it, I'll take away your pay.
Oh, there you go. That's good. Yeah.
So we are recording, ready to get the NASCAR Cup Series season officially kicked off. So I've been threatening for, I don't know, like 2 years to change the host of the podcast. And I finally pulled the trigger this week, James. We have now switched over. We are no longer on SoundCloud. We are now on Anchor FM, Anchor.fm. So it doesn't really affect any of you guys. Should be everything should be normal. If you should get in your feed like normal. If for some reason something screwy happens, that's probably for that reason. The only thing I can really think of that might be messed up is that if you go back and listen to old episodes on SoundCloud or off the website, they're not going to work after a certain point. So other than that, should work. One thing we do have as a result is if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, there is an option, James, to leave us a voice message.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you guys want to say something, get on the show, maybe give a shout out to somebody or shout out your favorite driver, tell us we're idiots, whatever you want to do, you can do that. Again, anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway. You can leave an audio message there for us, and we may use it on the show. I'm not making any promises, guys.
You know, I'm not against giving people life advice either, which is a trope from one of my favorite podcasts. So you know, if you have a question, you know, relationship advice or, you know, job advice, we are definitely experts in all of these things. It's not just a racing thing.
I'm a big fan of Door Bumper Clear's Reaction Theater. So, you know, a little Reaction Theater. If you got something you want to spout off about the race or something, feel free to leave that for us too. Whatever you want. Again, anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway.
I'm really excited about that. I love that idea.
I know. I hope people use it. I really do. I love the interaction aspect, especially when we get to preview it in advance.
Yeah.
Even better that way. So, you know, hey, if you want to talk some smack about your picks for the Fantasy League, because we got the Fantasy League rolling again. James, I already made my picks for the Daytona 500 just to be safe.
Oh, I didn't make mine yet. I was waiting to get through tonight.
I'll switch mine up, but mine are made to start with, so if I forget. So I'm golden this weekend. Like, there's no Saginaw Spirit games this weekend. I was like, there's no hockey this weekend. I am home. We have no plans. I'm going to sit here and watch, for the first time in years, every race this weekend. So, of course, tonight we're recording during the duels. I'm good tomorrow night for the truck race. Good Saturday night for the Xfinity race. Sunday, I got to drive an hour and a half away for a hockey game for the boys.
Oh, no.
He'll be back in 5:30. The game is at 5:30.
Oh, my God. I was hoping that was AM, not PM.
That's the only time I would like to drive to Bad Axe at.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So pretty much.
You're going to be grumpy on Sunday when you're getting messages from me and Todd then.
Well, I'm just going to mute you guys.
That's fine. Well, that's fine, but you're still going to be grumpy.
Well, Todd's working; he won't be sending messages, but you will be.
Oh yeah, I'll be lively.
Yeah, I'm gonna be mute. I'm muting that channel. I will mute social media. Probably mute you on messages. I'm gonna take care of everything, so I don't get any spoilers. Yeah, that's a bummer, but whatever. Life goes on, I guess.
No, you know, you'd be out of your element if you were watching a little bit delayed.
Right.
So that's good.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. See, that's the funny thing is I never watch delayed. I will, if I can't watch it, I'm usually tapped in some way. So
I just can't do that.
Yeah, I don't I don't know what the difference is between you and me and how we handle that, but I don't mind just like I'll throw on the radio or, I'll just be like, yeah, this is going on, and then I'll catch it. If I need to catch something, I'll catch something.
See,
afterwards,
I am all in. It has to be 100% of my attention or 0% of my attention. There's
It's probably why you're so bad in the fantasy league, Eric.
Probably. I'm sure it is.
No, I'm just
no. It's one of the reasons I'm bad at the fantasy league.
It's small piece of the pie.
And it's funny because I like watching delayed, to a certain extent, but yeah, I don't know. I can't. I'll sit there. Like if we go to an event or a party or something like that, I'll watch on my phone, and I'm just tuned out to everything else. Then I'm just only watching the race, and so.
Yep.
I don't like to do it if I don't have to.
Yep.
But
yep. I was since we're at the top of the podcast, I know we'll reiterate this at the end, but I did want to say the league is wide open for anybody in the public. We had some people reaching out on Twitter, so we did tweet out the link. We we just posted on Facebook the link, and then anybody who wants to hop in, it's the Super Speedway, 3 words, and it's on NASCAR.com. So if you go to the app, search fantasy. Find our league, the Super Speedway. So we had a few people join up, so I'm excited to see who sticks around this year and how it goes. So
me too.
We'll reiterate that towards the end of the podcast, but just want to let everybody know we got the information out there. Make your picks. If you're like me, you'll do it tonight after the duels. Or if you're like Eric, you'll probably have somebody in your lineup who didn't make the race.
Wow. That's only happened twice, James. It's only happened twice.
Yes.
I will say sometimes I like to listen Saturday morning to the to Sirius because they'll usually have a fantasy preview, but it only works out when I happen to be in the car at the right time. So
yeah, the 500s is the only race of the year where I really honestly don't have a feel for anything. Yeah, because it's all so brand new, and you've actually this is a good point because I was skimming through Denny Hamlin's podcast a little bit, and I loved his quote about you'll luck into a win at Daytona once. Yeah. But not more than that. And I just thought that was, I'm so glad somebody said it because I've never heard anybody actually say it. But I think we all have understood that the guys who are good at the super speedways are good for a reason. Yeah. They've got a knack for this thing. You don't win 3 Daytona 500s, by fluke. And even Michael McDowell, I know he's got the 1 win. Right. He's always been good at the super speedways. He's not
a guy that's lucked into
he's not it. He's not that big of an underdog when you consider it. There's been underdogs who have won the race in the past, but
I would argue you need luck to win the Daytona 500.
Yes.
Or any super speedway race. But
yes,
I agree with Denny that you're not going to luck into more than 1 win there.
Yeah. Like Austin Cindric, I think was, if you're looking at the scales of skill, luck, and all this other stuff that goes into winning these races, I do think he was a little bit more luck than most, but also those cars were really, really fast. And, it was not a fluke that he won that race. Whereas Ryan Blaney, obviously he's up there for a reason, and he's always in contention, but he just hasn't been able to seal the deal. So it's it's a bad. I mean, one of the Eric, one of the great back in the day, one of the great plate racers of all time never won this race, Tony Stewart. I mean, there's a handful of guys who were really, really good at this, and they just bad luck was more on their side than most.
Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt only got 1, and they were right here too.
And Dale Earnhardt Sr. is the best plate racer of all time, other than maybe his son. They are the two. Yeah.
I would say so. Let's just go on a tangent. Why not?
Yeah, we're here. I'm watching the race. I'm enjoying. I'm just having a conversation. So.
I would say if you were to put Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr. together in Dale Jr.'s prime, Jr. probably was better because I think Sr. had the advantage of seeing things that nobody else knew were there. Junior was good when everybody started to understand the way the air worked. Yes. And Junior wouldn't have been as good as he was without his dad, I'm sure. His dad taught him a lot about the air and whatnot. But Earnhardt knew stuff that nobody else knew, whereas Junior just was good at manipulating it when everybody knew.
Eric, here's a fun. We can do this very quickly, but I just thought of this. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of super speedway racing? Daytona, Talladega. God. If you had to pick 4, like you're starting a team all time, who's the 4 when you just talk about Daytona?
You think you can do this quickly?
I think I could probably do it pretty quickly. I know 3.
Well, Earnhardt's on there.
Both of
Both
them?
Earnhardts. Yeah, I think
Okay.
both Earnhardts have to be on
I
there.
agree. I have both Earnhardts. And then it gets really tough.
It does get really tough because... So, do you put Michael Waltrip on there?
I would not.
But, I mean, he was great.
Yeah, he was.
In a DEI car, though.
He's an OLI for me, outside looking in, right? He's...
Okay.
He got the other win at Talladega, and his other win was a rain shortened Daytona 500. So I know it is what it is, right? He won the same race everybody else is racing. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he was really good there for a stretch.
I believe this was a discussion on Denny's podcast this week too. Though I think they talked current drivers for their
Yeah, I didn't listen to that part of it, but
Denny,
I'll give you
Denny,
mine.
interestingly enough, did not put himself on there, which because of the way the question was worded to him. But I definitely those two. Man, Brad's got to be on there, right? Brad Keselowski.
I've got Brad. Yeah, I've got Brad.
I feel like Brad has to be.
Although,
so Denny made the point on Brad that Brad did it without help. Like so many other drivers that finish up there consistently have help, but Brad was doing it when he didn't have teammates to help him.
Yeah.
So I think I would have to put Brad and Denny on there, James.
Yeah, those were the 4 I would go with. Now, if you wanted to go further back, like Richard Petty won 7 500s.
Yeah,
that was a totally different era.
That wasn't it wasn't restrictor plate racing for one.
Exactly. And I'm also going to say that this is way more competitive from the early 90s through now. It's just such a different form of racing that I don't, Cale Yarborough, he's got 4 or 500s.
Right, and I mean, you could even go back to Bobby and Davey Allison were both really good at super speedways. But
Boyer was good. There's a lot of guys who were good at this. I think Blaney's really good. He just hasn't racked up the win totals quite yet.
Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah,
neither of them are on our list.
Jimmy Johnson's got 2 500s and also swept Daytona.
Yeah.
10 years ago. So there's that. But I think your 4 and my 4 are probably the same.
Yeah.
I've got Brad and Denny. Interestingly, Brad's the only one without a 500.
Right.
But, he's also won some pretty big ones over the years. And he was pretty dang close to winning a 500.
Yes.
In spectacular fashion when he crashed out.
When Joey wrecked him?
A couple years ago. Oh my God. Yeah. And that was pretty much the writing on the wall. His days at Penske were numbered.
Yeah.
from that moment on.
Yeah.
So,
let's hit some of our topics, James. Here,
let's do it.
We're going to go through with our season predictions here in a moment as well. But it's time to talk some topics. First one, Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman both signed contract extensions, multiple years. Interesting here, I think. Suarez doesn't surprise me as much as Bowman does. I don't know what you think, James.
I think they both are equal for me. I'm surprised that Suarez was signed first versus Chastain.
Wow.
And I don't know what that means. And I want to pose that question to you.
Well, Suarez was like the foundation of that team, though.
Yes, and I think they can. So I think also he's a cheaper.
Yeah,
he is a cheaper buy-in right now. So you get him and
he wasn't in the Final Four last year, so.
Yes. I will say, I mean, Ross Chastain only has one more win than Daniel Suarez for career, but that's neither here nor there. But now I think this gives Trackhouse the flexibility to say, okay, what is Ross to our team? Because he's gonna get eyes from a lot of big teams. We know Stuart Haas is already circling him. Hendrick, though, I think Hendrick is out of the game here because of Bowman.
Be.
So
they gotta be.
So if he wants to stay with Chevy, he's not going to Hendrick.
You said to me, James, and I think that this is probably the real, piece of the puzzle is, if you're going to look at Suarez and Chastain, who do you think is a cheaper option? Suarez, right?
Suarez
is going to be your cheaper option. So you get Suarez out of the way. Now you know what your budget is for Chastain.
Yes.
You know what you can spend on Chastain based on what you're bringing in. And
exactly.
It makes that decision a lot easier.
That's right. You know where the low part of the bar is. Now you can only you got to work your way up. What is Chastain worth to the team?
Yep, exactly.
and who are the bidders coming for him? What are they willing to pay?
Right.
And and also you get Suarez on a multi-year deal, which also, looking ahead, we've got TV money looming here as well. And if
Lock
these teams are going to get
that deal.
Exactly. And if these teams are going to get large chunks of the pie, I think that's why you sign Alex Bowman as well, because you've got a sponsor who loves him.
Yeah,
you got a team who loves him. Like,
I don't want to like be down on Alex Bowman. I think Alex Bowman is a fine driver. I feel like every year Bowman's on the chopping block, even when he's not. You know what I mean? The fans think he's on the chopping block, and he obviously is not. And it's like, what dirt does he have on Rick Hendrick that gets him, to sign before these deadlines? But I mean, good for Alex Bowman. I mean, and he's definitely, when he's on, and I mean, he's sitting on the pole for this weekend again.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
I mean,
and I think Bowman, Eric, here in Michigan, we have Jim Harbaugh, right? He's the head coach of U of M.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. And for a long time, a lot of people were wondering, well, is he a good coach? We don't know. The performance isn't quite there. He could be better. Okay, he's looking okay. I think Alex Bowman's in the same boat here, where if the team, in Harbaugh's case, if the university's happy and the boosters are happy, what's the problem? You just get your guy. I think the same thing for Bowman. I think the sponsors are happy. Hendrick's happy. Jeff Gordon's happy. He's probably not the most expensive driver in the world to lock him in.
Yeah.
Also, who's coming in the Chevy camp to take that seat? There's Gregson's signed with Legacy.
They passed on Kyle Busch last year.
Right.
In theory.
Right. And I just exactly the pipeline's not really there too. So what, you sign Alex Bowman through 2026 here. That's perfectly fine. And now you've got your lineup pretty much set for God knows how long here.
When you've got Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, who are both proven champions, and you got William Byron sitting there that is just waiting to be a champion.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I guess that kind of
break through still.
That kind of leaves room for that guy that is going to sneak you some wins here and there, and maybe not going to compete consistently for a championship necessarily, but can at any time surprise somebody and become a championship contender. So I guess you talked me into it, James. You talked me into Bowman.
And surprisingly, because he's not my favorite driver of all time, but I mean, the guy wins races, Eric. He wins races, and Ally wasn't winning a whole lot before him when they came into the sport.
That's true.
So I guess I understand that.
I don't remember whose tweet it was, but I saw somebody tweet out that they have no other driver do they have as many t-shirts of making fun of himself than Alex Bowman.
yeah.
Which is
he
great.
stirs the pot.
Yeah. I mean,
so these were two interesting ones, and it was funny that Daytona's here, and now our silly season has begun. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
I know, right? You can take the next one, James, because I don't know a whole lot of details on this. You're the one who put it in the notes, so go for it.
Oh yeah, I just had I had seen that Steve O'Donnell was on with Sirius, and basically, we don't have to go into it too deeply, but he said all these places are on the table here for Cup races, and mentioned going out west, Seattle, Portland area. He mentioned Canada. He mentioned New York City. And unfortunately for Kyle Busch, he also mentioned going to Mexico Cup racing. So Eric, I think what we're seeing here is, NASCAR being able to get this Chicago street race across the goal line, that this thing is going to happen. I think NASCAR now can see where, we can have special events a couple of times a year, and we can move some of these races around, and they're trying to get into the big markets. They've been trying to get into New York forever. So maybe,
everybody has
we talked about, right. And you and I talked about this before the Clash, that, maybe we could see that race moving towards the summer, being in New York, as a possibility, or maybe they do a street race there or something like that. So, I just think NASCAR's keeping their options open, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking beyond, North America, as well, for possible Cup dates down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's none of these are surprising. New York City is probably the most surprising, just that it's there's been other groups that have tried to put races in and around New York City, and the only one that's so far succeeded is Formula E because they're quiet.
Yep.
I mean, and who knows? I guess, you know, the NASCAR mindset kind of is gone, especially since the Coliseum and now the Chicago Street Course, that, you know, it used to be, well, we can't race there because there's no track. Well, now it's just like, well, let's just build a track. You know, this is
Right.
build something
Exactly.
temporary. Let's race in a parking lot or whatever. You know what I mean? So it definitely opens the options up. Now, I don't want to see us, you know, consistently run street courses because they're easy to build places. But if we run one street course a year and we do the Chicago thing for 3 years and we go, well, let's do it in New York City and for the next 3. Cool. That's great. You know,
Yep.
I don't know that I want more than 1, certainly not more than 2. And I don't really want more than 1 or 2 Coliseum races, you know, stadium races either. But, you know, and rotating them will make that work.
And another nugget from this that I didn't really put in the notes, but it's kind of a big deal is, you know, everything's on the table for the Los Angeles market. And that means Coliseum, maybe Auto Club doesn't come back at all if they, you know, they can't get this short track off the ground. I'm starting to feel a little less optimistic that is even going to happen here. So,
I mean,
there's a lot.
I feel like I predicted that. I mean, I predicted that they wouldn't actually do the construction, but my prediction stands strong that we won't ever see that racetrack.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I mean, I'm still confident that we're going to see short track racing there, but I'm starting to waver now.
Yeah.
In a way that I wasn't before, because I really thought that NASCAR was going in a direction where they wanted more short tracks, and you know,
well, I'll tell you what.
I sure hope.
If NASCAR listens to the drivers,
I sure hope,
sorry, James, I think we got a delay.
No, go ahead, take it.
If NASCAR listens to the drivers, we're gonna have a race at Irwindale because everybody screamed Irwindale when they talked about running the Coliseum as a points race. So I'm down for that.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Me too. Yep, I'm on board with that for sure. I know you and I talked about that too, as a possibility. So yeah, I'm totally down with that. Absolutely.
You know, I wonder if NASCAR actually put themselves in a bad position. And then, you know, this is I think this was Denny's podcast this week. They were talking about the negotiations and all that stuff. I wonder if NASCAR put themselves in a bad situation by buying out ISC and now owning these tracks that they have to do something with and being locked into having to race at these tracks that they own. You know, I wonder if that was a mistake because things like, you know, Circuit of the Americas works great. They just rent the track for the weekend. They're good to go. They leave and they're done, you know. Maybe that's the future of what we're doing. Who knows?
I just sure hope that we're not going to be doing all sorts of street races, all these stadium races. Like, I really don't want that as much as I want, you know, traditional, you know, NASCAR racing. Like, we got to Daytona this week, Eric, and I guess we can talk about this now. This kind of can be our transition.
Yeah.
We got to Daytona this week, and there's no on-track activity until qualifying last night.
Yeah.
And
the very first car out shows why we should add practice.
Yes, and there's a car in the garage that can't start because it hasn't had any prep time.
Yep.
And you know, I was thinking even before last night, you know, we used to have this 2-week celebration of the sport in Daytona.
Yep.
And we'd have the Clash, and we'd have all the sorts of activity going on, cars on track. It was kind of a festival of NASCAR racing for multiple weeks, and we just don't have any build-up this year.
Back when we used to have the Goodies Dash series, and we had IROC, we had the Bash at the Beach on the backstretch.
Yeah,
dude, there was racing for 2 weeks straight every day.
Yes, it was a heyday.
Yeah.
It was a heyday, and I finally, last year I don't think I felt it because the Clash was so new and exciting and weird, but the gap between the Clash and NASCAR, it's just a lot of dead time.
Yeah.
And I know the Super Bowl's in there, and that's exciting and fun for a lot of people too. You know, it's the most watched thing on TV every year, so I get that you can't really compete with it, but man, I really feel like we're missing some opportunity there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I really don't want the Clash back. Back at Daytona, I think it works the way it is, but I do wish we could do more at Daytona. I really think NASCAR really screwed up this week because they scheduled practice for after the duels when nobody's going to practice. And everybody would have practiced before the duels, but before qualifying, but they didn't allow practice then. It's back ass words and whatever. It's just
back ass words. I like that. Exactly.
It's what NASCAR does. I mean,
yeah.
So.
Yep. It wouldn't be a NASCAR week if we didn't have some sort of an embarrassing thing. Right. That's right. So, yeah, it was a bummer. But I finally missed it this year, and
yeah.
I don't know what NASCAR can do to bring that excitement back.
The problem is that you go and you say, okay, let's do practice then, and you put practice on the track and you get 12 people in the stands.
Right.
And that's why they're not doing it. I mean, if you look back at what the Clash used to draw, I mean, the Clash back when it was a 20-lap race filled the seats at Daytona.
Yeah, it's exciting.
You don't have that anymore, and it's I don't know.
I guarantee you that we're going to have practice before next year because they got to shake these cars down at some point.
Yeah.
I saw that before the Indianapolis 500, there was, what was it, Eric? I think NASCAR Man had shared this on Twitter. I think it was like 26 hours of total track time.
Right.
Before the Indy 500, and NASCAR had 0.
Yeah.
So we got to find a happy medium between 1 and 26.
I still say my argument, James, and I know we disagreed and went back and forth on this last year. My argument is let's do an hour session of practice.
Yeah, just shake them down.
Every race, run an hour of practice, and that's it. Hour of practice for qualifying. You don't need practice in between qualifying and the race. Just give us an hour. Now this 20-minute stuff, whole hour, whole field.
Can you imagine being a rookie and that this is your first?
Can you imagine being Travis Pastrana?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing it.
Or better yet, can you imagine being Jimmy Johnson, who's barely ever driven one of these cars before, but you're a 7-time champion and the GOAT, and you're being asked to go out and look like an idiot because you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Of course, he does know what he's doing and managed to get in on speed, but whatever.
He's totally fine. Yeah.
So
we have faith in the Jimmer.
Yeah. Again, duels are on as we speak, but we do have some. It's spoiler free, but we can spoil from qualifying because that was yesterday.
It's not spoiled for me, buddy.
I know. Don't even. Alex Bowman, as we mentioned, gets the pole again for the Daytona 500. Kyle Larson will start second, so all Hendrick front row. Man, Hendrick puts a premium on poles in front row at Daytona.
Yeah, 10 years in a row, Team Chevy on the pole.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was looking at the Fords, and the Fords were expected to do so well, but Hendrick pulled the string. I mean, Bowman was a tenth of a second faster in the first round of qualifying than everybody else.
Yeah, second round too. Yeah, I mean, he was insane. Flying. And I thought Chase Briscoe had it there for a little while, but we had, one of our followers messaged us on Facebook and said, who you got for the front row? And all I replied was Hendrick. It seems like we're pretty much locked in there.
Yeah.
So,
I will say just to piggyback on your whole missing it. I watched all of qualifying. I don't watch qualifying for anything, but I watched all of qualifying last night.
I know. I
even watched it
every
delayed.
lap of qualifying.
So I could have known who was on the pole and not watched it at all, but I sat there and watched it. So.
Yeah.
We also mentioned Jimmy Johnson, Travis Pastrana both lock in on speed, so they will be racing on Sunday in the Daytona 500. I loved the post-race with them, or post-qualifying session when Pastrana went over and gave Jimmy the big hug, and you could just see how nervous they were, whether they were going to make it in or not. Very cool.
Oh, man.
This is perfect for the sport. I mean, both these guys needed to be in this race, and now they don't have to worry about it.
Well, I was expecting Jimmy to lock in on speed. There was no way. I was
too.
Jimmy was, but Travis, man, so good. I was so happy for him.
Yeah.
Just, man, he got out of that car like a kid.
The Toyotas weren't that great in qualifying, and he still managed to get himself in there, so that's cool. Good for him.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Good for him. The Daytona 500 will be better with Travis Pastrana in it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's so exciting, Eric. Yeah. I mean, he's just such a great personality. I don't know how many laps he's going to make it, but he'll make the green flag.
Well, whatever it is, it'll be spectacular, so...
You know, Eric, I was talking to someone today actually about this who has no NASCAR loyalty or affiliation at all, but loves extreme sports, and said, I've been following Travis on his journey.
Yep.
And he said, I am going to watch the Daytona 500 because Travis is in.
There will be more eyeballs on the race because of him.
Yep. I mean, it won't be a gigantuan amount of eyeballs, but there's people out there who love this stuff that he does.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people he's going to bring in. I mean, I don't think it's not going to be a big dent in what we see for ratings, but just for one guy bringing in fans, I think he'll bring in more than what people will expect.
And how about him having Ken Block's family there?
Yeah, that's cool
as well, to be part of a special moment with everything they've been going through.
Yeah,
since his passing, and man, it's just so cool. I don't know, what a personality. He's just such a nice guy.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see him take the green flag.
His team owner has won the 500 and knows what he's doing, so you got to imagine he's got a chance at that car, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Eric, when's the last time you saw it? It's so, I don't know, man. Like, I've never seen drivers that genuinely happy.
No, it's been a while.
Like he takes it to another level with just the way that he is. But
his personality is just so good. And again, I just wish he would have succeeded in NASCAR because he's so good for anything he's involved in. He's good for.
I know. Yeah.
With that, James, it's time to get into our preseason predictions. Every year we have the same questions or similar questions. This year they're the same as last year.
Yep.
We get to make our picks and prove by the end of the season how terrible we are at doing this sort of thing.
That's right.
So we will start things off. Our very first preseason prediction. One big gamble, James. One big gamble. You get to go first on this one. What is your one big gamble for 2023?
Oh man.
Now this is you going out on a limb for something.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal from. So I'm gonna try to spread the wealth here a little bit because I got team to watch, things like that. My one big gamble, man, so much pressure. I would say, I'm going to say that the race at North Wilkesboro will be so good that we'll be coming back every year for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
And I know NASCAR's plans are to move that race around, I think. But I think it's going to be such a hit, they're going to have a hard time moving that race. And if I had to bet on it, I would go so far to the side that this is going to be such a success that there's no way we'll ever take North Wilkesboro off the schedule.
I will say that I will go a step further with you on that one. This is not my one big gamble, but I will go a step further and say that the All-Star race will not return to North Wilkesboro because this will be a points-paying race going forward.
Possibly. Yep.
I think they'll make it a points-paying race.
I just think North Wilkesboro is going to be such a big hit that it's just not going to come off the schedule.
I think it's going to be. I agree. I think it's going to be huge. And I saw they posted some more pictures today of the work they're doing. They've got the signs up labeling the sections of the stands, and they are hand lettered, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And exactly. And I think too, for me, Eric, usually I look at things like, I look at the Chicago street race and I immediately go, oh, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not going to work. But this is like, I just can't, and I could be totally wrong here. I can't see this race. I can't see North Wilkesboro not being a massive success.
I think the race could suck and it'd still be a huge success.
Yeah. And maybe that's not the biggest gamble in the world, but I just, for me, I feel like, I think NASCAR themselves are taking a gamble at putting this thing back together. So I'm going to try to tie all that together. So that's my one big gamble for the year.
All right. Mine, I hinted at this last week. I might have even said this very same thing last week. My big gamble is that Ty Gibbs will win a race in the first 10 races of the season.
The first 10 races?
First 10 races, he will be a race winner. And I looked at the schedule to see, and there's Circuit of the Americas stands out to me.
I'll give you another one.
Okay.
I think Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Stands out to me. Eric, I like this one because I think it's going to be hard for him. So I will. I like that you went out on a limb on that one because I don't think it's going to be that easy for him.
Yeah. See,
I think he's going to struggle a little bit.
Personality wise, I am not high on Ty Gibbs, but as a ability wise, I am.
Yeah.
I
he can.
I think the kid's got some talent.
Yep, he can wheel with anybody. Yep.
And I doubted him when he first got the shot in the Xfinity Series, but man, he proved me wrong in his very first race, and then stuck to it. And I just can't dismiss that. I think he's something to watch.
Yep. And in the face of adversity at the end of the Xfinity season last year, he went out and basically he went out and just took a title. Just
Yeah.
was like, nope, that's mine. You don't get. Sorry, Noah, you don't get this. This is mine. It's my right.
Yep.
That this is my championship, and that's what I wanted to see out of Ty Gibbs.
Yeah. Team to watch. Speaking of things to watch, team to watch. I'll go first.
I think
on this one.
I was gonna say we got the same answer here. I think. I'm curious to see where you go.
I'm going Richard Childress Racing.
Oh, okay. We won't have the same answer.
Richard Childress Racing is my pick. I think that that Kyle Busch going over there is going to, first of all, be a boon for him. Just the new scenery and the new person. I mean, you go from. I think we talked about it last week or a couple weeks ago. You go from the stiff collar, clean cut Joe Gibbs Racing over to the rough around the edges Richard Childress Racing. I think it's the perfect fit for Kyle Busch, and I think he's going to help Austin Dillon get better over there as well. And I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see some improvement out of Richard Childress. I think RCR is going to be a contender once again. Will they make the Final Four? Yeah. Maybe not yet, but I think they're going to be impressive this year.
Let me ask you this question, Eric. Let me phrase it this way: who's a better driver, Tyler Reddick or Kyle Busch, right now?
I gotta go with Kyle. I think
it's Kyle.
Kyle's proven himself enough.
Yes,
and I think just the way, I know that the Coliseum means nothing, but the way he came through the field at the Coliseum and didn't let adversity get to him in that race.
Yeah.
Of course he then has the Mexico thing, and now he's got a black cloud looming over him again that's going to piss him off every time he's asked a question. But
I think Tyler Reddick's a great bet for the future of NASCAR racing, and he's going to be a great championship contender someday.
Yeah.
But Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. There's only he's one of the unicorns, man. You don't get guys like that, once, but maybe a decade.
He didn't forget how to drive in a year.
He's got 60 wins in the Cup Series. That's so rare. He's so good.
Plus, he's going to race in the Xfinity Series again.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah. He unretired.
That was quick.
Yeah. Good one. Good pick, Eric.
Who's your team to watch, James?
Oh, I think Kaulig Racing's going to be a bear this year.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think Kaulig's going to steal some of that thunder from Trackhouse, to be honest with you. I love the talent that they've got over there. The team's been getting better. You've got Haley, who seems to be stepping into the right direction, albeit maybe a little bit slowly, but also, that team was a little bit smaller. And they're building from the ground up over there. But I think bringing in AJ Allmendinger is going to up that team's game so big.
He's going to do the same thing that Kyle Busch is going to do to RCR.
Yes. Yep.
Same thing. I mean, look at what he did with the Xfinity program. I give AJ Allmendinger most of the credit for the success of that Xfinity program over there.
That whole organization owes him a debt of gratitude because he was. I mean, and Justin Haley's had a nice career as well, but AJ Allmendinger. I think you and I are both screaming last year, why don't you bring him in to make the playoffs? Because I think he's going to be really a good shot to do so.
I'll piggyback off of that too, James, and say, you mentioned that they're gonna kind of unseat Trackhouse. I think Trackhouse is gonna have some growing pains this year. I think they're going to be not quite what they were last year. I think last year they surprised themselves a little bit. I don't think they're gonna be terrible, but I don't think they're gonna have the success this year that they did last year.
I think and maybe just to play devil's advocate with you, I think Justin Marks has been playing the chessboard very, very well.
Yeah.
So far, there's going to come a time where he's going to put a piece in the wrong place and it's going to be a little bit of a step back. I just don't know. They've done such a good job. Yeah,
they got to lock Chastain in though.
Yeah, but they're very sturdy. And that Chastain thing, you don't want that to go too long because look at what happened to Kyle Busch last year. It becomes a distraction. So I think that's one of the big problems. But I do think that team is steady. Even if they do take a step back, they're not. I don't think that team's going to tumble. I think they may slip if they do show some growing pains. But I think that their slippage won't be as bad as they're not going to turn into
Brickware racing.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I don't think they're going to go back that far, but I don't think they're going to be the success story that they were last year.
Yeah, maybe they're more RFK than Hendrick Motorsports. Something along those lines.
They were contending to win every week last year for a good chunk of the season. I just don't see that happening. I guess we're talking, top 10s instead of top 5s this year. Yes, that's my thought. Yeah, not just a disaster.
Yep, I agree.
Pick 2 drivers that made the playoffs last year and won't make it in 2023. This is tough. This is tough. This was a lot harder than the next one was for me. Who do you got, James? Who's your 2 drivers that made the playoffs last year but won't make it this year?
Oh, this was really hard.
It's hard to look at that list and go, who doesn't deserve to be in there?
I know. I'm gonna number 1. I'll say Austin Cindric comes out, and that's really hard for me because he's great at the road courses. I think he could steal one of these races.
Yeah,
I gotta fight. There's 25 teams who could make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think Cindric comes out, and I think Suarez will come out.
Okay.
I think Suarez will come out. Those are my 2 guarantees. Like you said, Eric, like Austin Dillon was in the playoffs last year. I can't see him coming back. I can't see him coming back out of the playoffs. I think with Kyle Busch, Austin's gonna win a race.
Yeah, I would think
this
so.
Year, so. I look at Cindric, I look at Suarez. Those guys were lower in the, on the totem pole for me.
Yep. Cindric's actually a really good pick. I kind of like that pick better than the one I made, but I did go with Daniel Suarez as mine as well. And then I went Christopher Bell.
It's so hard. Wow.
Yeah.
Championship 4 driver.
Yeah, I think there's some unhappiness there at JGR, and I think
he hinted at it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think if you're saying in the media the way he said what he said, that there's more to it.
Well, I said when I saw those comments, I immediately messaged you and said, Tony, go get him.
Yep.
Go get him.
Yep, and that could create some rocky things, and I don't know. I think you're over at JGR right now. You've got Martin Truex Jr., who's he's not going to suck 2 years in a row. So you got Truex here that's going to be getting some effort. Denny Hamlin's going to be getting some attention, and you think Grandson's not going to get some attention. So now Christopher Bell's that 4th guy on the totem pole.
Exactly. Yep.
So.
Yep.
This one was easier. 2 new playoff drivers this year. The first one is the lock. Yeah. I guarantee you we have the same one as AJ Allmendinger.
Yep, you can put AJ down for me as well. I do think AJ will win a road course race. He'll get in.
Yeah,
he will get in.
And I already mentioned him because I don't think he goes 2 years without a win, and he already got one this year. And Martin Truex Jr. is my other pick.
Yeah, I think Martin's a lock to make it in. I will. Just for the sake of conversation, because I think Martin's getting back in, I'm going to give you a guy who I think is going to get in.
Okay.
I think, man, there's so many guys. So let me just throw some names at you who didn't make the playoffs, just so people listening can get, can remember who we're kind of picking from a pool here. So you said Martin.
Yep.
Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
Eric Almirola, Chris Buescher, who won a race.
Yeah.
Brad Keselowski. All those guys did not advance. Plus, you have Ty Gibbs now.
Right.
He's in the stable, and Noah Gragson.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of guys. I mean, Eric, that's ridiculous. So you said Martin. I think Martin's a lock, but I will say that Eric Jones will get in this year. And that was, so my 3, I think Martin, Eric, and Bubba all get in.
Yeah.
But I'll do Eric Jones now, because I think that team showed a little something towards the end of last year. And if they can sneak one of these wins, I mean, he could win the Daytona 500 for all we know, you know. He's great at these tracks. So I'll say Eric for now. That's more sentimental than it is probably picking with my brain.
No, I think that's a very realistic pick. There's a lot of tracks that he could do well at.
But there's so many guys.
That team's going to go up too.
Yeah. And we didn't mention Chase Briscoe here
Yeah.
coming back out, but I had a hard time taking him out because he was so dang competitive towards the end of last year.
That was me
I
too.
mean,
I
he
feel
really-
like he's not gonna go the whole season without being able. He's gonna get a win somewhere.
He fought so hard to advance in the playoff.
Well, and he was
he
one
really
bonehead
like
move away
it was
from winning
impressive.
Bristol on the dirt. You know, I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he was there. So I don't know. It's
Yep.
tough to take him out. Yeah, he was tough
I
to
mean,
take
it's
out.
so hard to take guys out.
Austin Dillon, tough to take out. Like you said, I mean, Daniel Suarez is tough to take out. Christopher Bell's hard to take out.
Yeah, they all are.
You know,
Austin Cindric's tough to take
yeah,
out.
It's really hard
Yeah.
to look at that list of 16 and go, yeah, one of these drivers isn't going to be here next year. And chances
Yeah,
are,
well, yeah, I'm looking
3 or 4 of them
yeah.
aren't going to be.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
Coming off a 2-win season, his finals. So you're telling me in his final season, we're not going to have, Kevin Harvick find his way into the playoff?
Yeah,
Come on,
he's
too
he'll
good,
be in
man. Yep.
there. Who will be the first driver to win their first race this season?
Oh, I think I know your answer.
Yeah, you already know mine, but what's yours, James?
Looking at the list, I mean, as much as I like Ty Gibbs, boy, this is a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. No.
A lot of guys got wins last year, so
Yeah.
it's boy, it's tough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say, well, gosh darn it, I'll say I'll just have to say Ty Gibbs too. I think that's
All
just
right.
the best bet. I think that's the best bet.
Yeah.
Boy, it's tough though, Eric. There's not a lot of guys who can win their very first race. Like, you want to say Justin Haley, right? But
Right.
he technically has a win.
That is true. Yeah, you're right.
You
You
know.
can't pick Haley.
Yeah, you can't pick Justin Haley, but I mean, legitimately getting a win, maybe he could probably win one.
Last year we both picked Reddick with a resounding definite, and he was like the 6th driver to get his first win.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, because Cindric won the 500, so
Yeah.
that was off the board.
yeah, we lost
immediately.
the first week.
Yeah.
What will be the best race of 2023? I get the first pick on this one. I'm not going to go on a limb with this one, James, and I'm just going to say, and that might have been the same pick last year. I'm going to go Coke Zero Sugar 400, the final race of the regular season.
Final race at Daytona. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And yes, non-points races do count.
That's right.
So you can go with North Wilkesboro if you want
I
to.
could. Yeah. I'm gonna go non-point. I'm gonna go points division here.
Okay.
I will say, boy, there's a lot of good tracks to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say the well, how about we do this? You pick one Daytona, I'll pick the other. I think
Okay.
the 500 is going to be phenomenal.
Nice.
I'm going to go with the 500. I know the stakes are a lot higher for the 400 now, but I'm also geeked about the 500, so I'm going to say the 500.
There you go. What will be the worst race, James?
Oh dear God. For me, it's easy. I feel like I can always say Bristol Dirt. I just hate it. I hate it so much.
That's your final answer?
Yeah, final answer. I hate it so much.
Bristol Dirt was great last year.
I know the finish was phenomenal. I know.
Sorry NASCAR, I'm gonna say Chicago Street.
Yeah, I'm worried about Chicago Street.
I hope
I'm worried
wrong.
about it.
I hope it's good.
It's
But-
going to be a spectacle. That's the only reason
Really?
I don't want to pick it. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
a spectacle. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to be that guy that's gonna pick the new race, but I just don't have real high optimism for that.
Yeah.
But I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I am. I hope it's such a success that we're like, man, we got to do this street race thing more often.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So, final four. Who is our final four? And I get to go first on this one.
You do.
My final four for 2023. I am going. Denny Hamlin's going to be in there.
Ooh.
Denny Hamlin, I
An
think. makes
aging
it.
Denny Hamlin.
Aging Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
He's not. He's still got
Okay.
it, man. He's still in there. Chase
All right.
Elliott will make a return to the final four.
Again. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Martin Truex Jr. He's going to go from not making the
Ooh.
playoffs to being in the final four.
Didn't Joey Logano pull the not make the playoffs, win the championship the next year? Isn't
Yeah,
that what
yeah,
Joey did?
I believe
a few
that
years
might be
back.
correct.
His first title was coming off of a non-playoff year.
Yep.
Something like that. Anyway.
And my fourth one, I'm actually going with one of your guys, and I'm going to say William Byron sneaks his way in there finally into the final four.
Ooh. I know. I feel like I pick Byron every year. It's come to bite me in the butt a couple of times, even though he's made some progress. All right, my four. How can we not put Kyle Larson in there? He's gonna get back in there. Give me
man.
Larson.
All right.
I mean, he's the best driver in the sport.
He wasn't good in his car though.
I know, but he's got another year under his belt. Give me Larson.
All right.
Give me Larson. Chase Elliott cannot keep making Final Fours, so he's out. I'm not going to put him in.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, I'm not going to put him in.
All those Chase Elliott fans now hate you.
Well, the Dale Jr. fans already hate me, so it's the same group. Give me. I can't believe this. I'll say Chris Bell. I know you got him out.
Yeah.
But he was so freaking good last year. He's going to be good again. Give me Chris Bell. So Larson, Bell. I'm going to give credit to the defending champ here. I'm going to say Joey's going to find a way to get back.
I had a hard time leaving him out.
He's got the hair plugs now, so he's really
he's less really aerodynamics though.
That's true. It's going
to slow him down.
Yep. And then number 4 for me, I'm going to go a little bit off the board. But I think Tyler Reddick's going to go to 2311, and he is going to be a freight train.
So Kyle Busch is a better driver than Tyler Reddick, but you're putting Tyler Reddick in the Final Four over Kyle Busch.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. I think that 2311 team is coming this year.
Gotcha.
They're going to be tough. That team's going to be tough.
I hope so. I'd like to see him do some stuff over there.
Yep. So yeah, give me Tyler Reddick. He showed me enough last year to where I'm like, okay, that guy's got a leap in him. That's on the cusp of being pretty good. So I'll take Tyler Reddick.
That is hilarious. We have completely different Final Fours.
Yeah, I like it.
And the nice thing is that as long as we pick logically, that means that the next one will be different as well. So
well, yeah, that's right. Well, and the funny thing is you know my feelings on William Byron is one of my favorite drivers. And I didn't even I can't pick him every year to make the Final Four and him not make it. So now I'm at the point.
This is the year that he'll make it.
Yeah, this is prove it year for me. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who will be your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion, James?
I'm gonna say this isn't going to be very exciting. I'm going to say Kyle Larson.
All right.
He's just so good. There's no way he's going to get through his career without he's going to be a multi-time champion. I believe that in my gut. So if this is the last one he ever wins, that's fine. But he's going to win another championship. So give me Kyle Larson.
Gotcha. I want to pick Denny Hamlin because I still want Denny Hamlin to get that championship. I really would like to. There's the only thing this guy's got left to do is win a title, and I'd love to see it happen. But maybe it's because I've seen this story before. But James, I think we're going to see a renewed performance out of Martin Truex Jr. this year. And I think Martin Truex Jr. is your 2023 Cup Series champion.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
I had Joey last year, so.
You did? Yep. And the way Joey won that championship too last year was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I will remember that for the rest of his career. He was not taking no for an answer that day. It was fantastic. That whole week he was ready to go.
Yeah, I agree. With that, it is time to make our picks for the Daytona 500. We are changing things up with our picks this year for James and I. We are scrapping the Xfinity and Truck Series picks. We mostly concentrate on the Cup Series anyway, so this also allows us to take off weeks when the Cup Series is off, those couple times a year when it happens.
Yes.
But it keeps me from picking drivers that aren't in the series as my picks. That happens from time to time.
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So the difference is it's going to be just like last year where we earn the same points that the driver that we pick earns. And as before, if the driver is disqualified and only gets 1 point, then we only get 1 point. We'll keep that rule as it has been. So whatever the final points report says. However, the kink is that we can only pick each driver one time through the regular season. So through the final Daytona race. And then we reset for the final 10 and can pick once again, but we can only pick one time again. So the max we can pick a driver is twice.
Yes.
So I think that'll make things interesting and really make us play some strategy here. And on that note, I'm struggling with the Daytona pick because I don't know where to go with this. But do you want to? I won last year,
Eric,
James. Do you want me to go first?
You're the champ.
All right.
I'm gonna let you make the choice because you won the title. You get to defer or take it yourself. I'm gonna give it up to you.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a little bit of strategy. I'd really like to pick Denny Hamlin, but I do not want to throw Denny Hamlin away on the very first weekend of the year. So I'm going to go with a guy. I might again. We also cannot pick the same pick that the other person picks. So we have no duplicate picks.
If they're off the board that week, they're off the board. Yep.
So I may take this guy off of your list because it's potential that you might pick him. But based on his performance last year, there's probably only 4 races I can pick him. So it's not going to hurt me to get rid of him on the first week. And I'm going to pick the hometown boy for us, Brad Keselowski, as my Daytona 500.
Oh, nice pick. Yeah, doggone it. That's a good one. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I got to pick him probably for one of the speedways. Or Bristol.
Yeah.
So that gives me that option. Oh, man.
Oops. I just marked it on yours, not mine.
Doggone it. I don't want to use up a Blaney.
Right. I know Blaney was one that I was thinking about.
Ah, dang it. Oh, man. I was going to say Eric Almirola, but he screwed up at the Clash so bad that I don't even want to go near that. You know what? Here's a good pick. Former winner. I'll take Michael McDowell this week.
Nice.
I'll take Michael McDowell. I was going to take Jimmer. I really thought about it, but I'm going to save Jimmer and maybe pull him another week where he's racing.
I thought about taking Pastrana. I really did. But I don't
Well, you're either going to... Yeah, well, you're going to get at least 1 point.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to pull it off. But, man, can you imagine the story of Travis Pastrana wins the Daytona 500?
Oh, my God.
But there's just no way. He's not going to make the right moves at the end of the race, even if he's there.
No.
He'll wreck out before then.
Yep. That's probably the way it's going to go.
So there you go. There's our picks for the first week. We'll see how that works out. Don't forget to, James will give you the details on Fantasy League once again. James, how can people sign up for Fantasy?
Yep. We just go to the NASCAR app on your mobile device and then go to Fantasy and the Super Space Speedway. It's 3 words and it's open to the public. Just find our league and come on in.
There you go.
Still got time. Yep.
With that, James, how can people find you on social media if they want to hit you up and chat with you during the 500?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can sort of find old episodes of the podcast, although a lot of those will go away here shortly. Show notes, links to articles we discussed, past race coverage, photos, other stuff like that. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Anchor. If you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message, and we might just play it on the show. Feel free to talk some smack about fantasy. Tell us something we did wrong. Complain about your favorite driver or least favorite driver on the weekend, whatever. Hit us up there. Anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen to the podcast. It is Daytona 500 weekend. We are ready to get the regular season underway for the NASCAR Cup Series. We'll be back next week to break it all down and get into the grind of the regular season. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.